podcast.
And then maybe if we sit over here, make sure this camera is on.
I never go out.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of GoPro is this?
This is GoPro Max. Yeah, so I'm not sure if they have any more newer ones after these ones here, but they're pretty epic. I just want to make sure the battery on this guy is doing pretty well. Maybe I ran out of batteries, which case I usually come with extras, which is awesome. Gets me prepared.
Yeah.
Give me a quick second here, brother. Awesome. Let's sit over here, brother. And then that way we'll be able to see these two cameras as well. Oh, thanks for being willing to be part of this. This is awesome. All right. Make sure you're in the camera and I am as well. Let's see here. What's the best angle here? Let's do something like that. Yeah. Let me start off by learning your name. What's your name?
My name is Nero.
Daryl?
Nero.
Nero.
Yes.
How do you spell that?
Nero.
Oh, Nero.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nero.
so you said narrow though.
Yes.
So, good that I hear your pronunciation.
Oh.
Here we usually pronounce that Nero, but I want to say it the way you say it. So,
Oh, okay.
Nero.
Yeah, that's the African name though.
That's the African name.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means?
It means it's just like Organero, which means there's God.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which part of Africa are you from?
Nigeria.
Nice. I was telling someone in a recent interview, if I ever see a black person here who is not from my country, that's from Africa, my first guess is they're from Nigeria. Because there's many from Nigeria.
Yeah. Where are you from though?
Yes.
Eritrea.
Nice guess. Very close. Very close. It
S-
used to be a part of a different country. Do you remember which one?
I know.
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
Yeah, Eritrea used
Wow.
to be a province of Ethiopia once upon a time, and then they won their independence.
Okay.
They've been struggling for a long time for independence, and so they're neighbors, basically.
Oh.
So it's very difficult to tell the difference between Eritreans and Ethiopians, because
Oh, I see.
We
Is that
share.
know where Haile Selassie was?
yes, Haile Selassie.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, Haile Selassie, right.
Nice
Yeah.
job on the history there. Nicely
Okay,
done.
yeah. A friend of mine talked to me about it, like, I think he was like a descendant from Solomon or David, something like that.
There are many stories about that. That's why many call him the Lion of the tribe of Judah.
Oh.
And he's I think he is big in the community of Rastafarians.
Exactly.
And they carry a lot of their colors as a result from that culture too.
Oh,
Isn't that interesting?
That's interesting.
I
That's
know.
amazing.
I don't know very much about it, but just a little bit is what I've clued into.
It's awesome though. I kind of want to like know more about it, right?
Yeah. That's a lot of history there too, isn't it?
Mhm.
Oh, so much. I'm ignorant though, so I couldn't help you.
All right, no worries.
Nero, my name is Binyam.
Oh, Binyam.
Binyam.
Binyam. How do you spell?
Binyam.
Okay, Binyam.
Yeah. I
That's
appreciate you
nice.
being willing to be a part of this.
You're welcome.
So like I said, let me just make sure my camera here is also going, because we don't want to miss that part as well too. The nice thing about doing this, Nero, is that we can have many different sources. So if something happens like this, I can make sure that we're still able to capture what we need.
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, this is a theme on integrity. I have a list of about 15 questions. The fun part is you don't know what the questions are. There are a lot of really great questions.
Okay.
So choose me a number between 1 and 16.
7.
7. Okay. So number 7. You know, 7 is a very popular number. Many people like it.
Yeah, 7 is my lucky number.
Is that your lucky number?
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You've got a neighbor behind you here. Hello, pups.
Oh.
That's a lot of puppies there. All right, so number 7. Is it better to be flexible or to be strict in the way that you show integrity? So, one ways I like starting Nero is trying to define an understanding of what integrity is in the first place.
Okay.
So, if I were to start with that question, what does integrity mean to you? How would you answer?
Um, I would say firstly, is the standard you set in life
Yes, I
and
like that.
your perspective of how you approach life.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Tell me a little bit more about the standard because there's many standards that people set all over the place. What do you
Um,
mean by the standard?
so
Define
when
that.
I say standard, right, is how would I put it now? It's a discipline
Yes.
of things of which you wouldn't do, right? Just to like achieve your goals.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I like that. So you're pursuing goals, and the standard by which you pursue that is the important part. Gotcha. There are many standards that people pursue, though, in pursuing their goals. Tell me a little bit more about this standard that you're talking about when you pursue goals.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Because there are some people who will cheat, there are some people who will steal, there's some people who will do a lot of things, and that's a standard, you could argue, right?
yeah, that's the standard exactly. That's why I go back to what I said.
Yes.
Of I say is the standard set of things you wouldn't do just to make your goals. By the way, some people might want to achieve success or their goals quicker, thereby cutting the journey. And the journey is not meant to be cut because that's what like actually giving you what it feels to achieve success. That's what adds up to your goals. Thereby, by cutting it, you wouldn't know what it takes,
Right.
yeah, to really appreciate your success by the time you make it. Yeah.
So there's a better pathway, you're saying. Many pathways to choose, but there's a better pathway to choose when you're pursuing your goals.
Exactly.
Sometimes it takes sacrifice, I imagine.
It takes sacrifice. It takes time. Like sacrifice can come in any form, right?
Sure.
It can be your time. It
Yeah.
can be something of value, which is also time, money, um, a lot of things. Like you being out of like being yourself,
Yes.
like separating yourself from loved ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also sacrifice. Yeah.
For sure.
So all that takes to achieve
Yeah.
your goals.
Yeah.
That's why I say integrity. You have to have all those. Is combined, right?
Yes.
It's kind of combined, all mixed together.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
I like your approach to the understanding integrity.
Oh,
It's
thank you. I
multifaceted.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
That's good. So back again to the question: when you apply your variety of integrity in your life, is it okay to be strict about it, or can one be a little bit loose in the way they apply it?
Um, for me, right, I'd say I'll be flexible about it,
Yeah.
right? Cause all work cannot play makes Jack a dull boy. You understand? And sometimes you have to give yourself that little space, right, to free your mind, and then that's why I say flexible,
I see.
right? Yeah.
I see. So you like the flexibility because it gives you some understanding about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes, and you need that. You need that to get your mind right. You need that to appreciate the things around you, and yeah, appreciate the goals you're pursuing. Because it can't just be like strict with your integrity, and then you lose some people on the way, right? You lose things that you would have kept
Yes.
if you were loose, like if you were flexible with
Right.
your standard. Yeah.
How do you define when you're going to be strict and when you're going to be flexible?
That's a nice question. For me,
Yes.
I set my goal. When let's say I have something to achieve, like
Yeah.
I have a goal I'm pursuing
Yes.
in a particular period. That's when I say I'll be strict.
Okay.
Yeah, cause a lot of times I do go out with friends, right, and we do things. That also takes time. But if I know I have a goal set and I have a plan, so I stick to that plan. So I have to like discipline myself and be strict to myself so that goals can be achieved within the time range I've set for myself, right?
Yeah.
So that's the time period I'll say I'll be strict with my law, yeah, my
see.
discipline, yeah.
Do you find that you're strict more often or flexible more often?
Uh I'm flexible more often,
More
yeah.
often.
I see myself as a flexible guy. Yeah, so I'm flexible more often.
I'll tell you what I like about your answer. And what I like about your answer, Nero, is that you, like, as I listen to your answer, I think about how, as human beings, we change over time. And a part of that change is how open we are to being flexible, especially to different circumstances or different ideas that come along the way that we didn't anticipate once upon a time.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah. And so I was thinking about even my own journey and how, for the longest time, I think I was very strict. My world was very black and white. This is how the world is. And then as I grow in experience and I start being challenged on some of those ideas, I start saying, oh, maybe I don't have everything under my belt that I should have to be able to make definitive black and white decisions. And so I find I'm like you, also flexible in the way I approach it. But I also find that there are some things that I'm very strict on. So there's some very core things to my values that I find are like very black and white. So, for one, I want to be transparent with the people in my life. That's like one of the really core ones. Now I don't want to flex on that. I would be flexible because I've been on the side where I've cut corners very much and I've hurt many people. So that's like a personal one for me where I say, no longer do I want to do that. Someone else may say, oh, that's not a big deal for me, but they have another area, for example, right? But yeah, I really appreciate hearing your answer that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, right? Um, to be flexible, it actually depend on the individual, right? Yeah, so it depends on what he or she have that's going on, right? So they know what actually plays good for them at that kind of situation. If they must be flexible or if they have to be strict on themselves. So it all depends on how you see how your perspective of life is. So yeah, I would say that.
Very cool. Nero, my podcast is directly on the theme of integrity, like I said, but it's specifically for young men that I
Okay.
want to encourage and inspire, saying it's worthwhile living a life of integrity.
Yes.
When you see the world in general, from your experience, do you feel young men are doing amazing in integrity, or do you feel that young men in general are struggling?
In the terms of integrity, young men, I would say 70% of the young men out there are really struggling with integrity. Yeah, and I feel like if if a theme or an organization is being set up to like coach these young men in this generation on how to on the basic standard of integrity, this would boost the ratio of which will have integrity young men in the country. You understand? Yeah.
What are some of the primary challenges you observe that young men in general have in even considering integrity? What makes it really difficult for them, and where are they struggling in specific?
So mostly most individual struggles on how they set their basic plans. Like I'd say how they want to live their life, because it takes integrity to plan out your life and how you want to live your life. So most of them don't have that idea, that knowledge being passed on to them by a mentor or
Yeah.
a parent or someone they look up to, right?
Sure.
So that's where this organization plays a vital role, right? Yeah, so it teaches these young men, young adults of our age, and then it sets the basic foundation. So they grow up and they pass that knowledge to young men that's coming.
If you had the opportunity to chat with young men who are interested in growing in their experience of integrity, what would you suggest to them as a good starting place for beginning that journey?
I would say take life slow, yeah, and do what makes you happy. Cause yeah, when you do something that makes you happy, you free and your mind is right, so you do things accordingly. Exactly. Because mostly most people are not most people out there, they don't know the standard of integrity, so they live the life worthless. So they're not guided because they're not happy with the way they're living the life, so the integrity is not there. So that's it.
Gotcha.
Hey, sorry about
That's
that.
okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You have an ant on the side there. I was just gonna brush it away.
Thank you.
Almost done our interview here. How did you come? This is a personal question, so feel
Okay.
free to bypass it. How did you come to commit, like yourself, to walk with integrity? Like, was it always there because you had, like you said, great mentors in your life, or was it something out of painful experience like me that said, "Oh, this is why this is important"?
It's both. Yeah, is from mentor and also from what I've been through in life. So I learned from that, and I also learned for others, people, right? Like my mentor, my dad, my uncle, right?
Sure.
So I learned from both of them. So I grabbed these two ideas
Yeah.
together, right?
Yeah.
And then I put it up to myself. I said, okay, I'll live by this. I'll
Gotcha.
use this to set up my own plans, right?
Right.
And I also add my own ideas.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll say made me set up like a good integrity for myself.
Very
You
cool.
know. Thank you.
Last question, my brother. Do
Okay then.
you have any questions for me?
No, it was the last question. Let me hear.
That was my last question. Do you have
Okay.
any questions for me?
So tell me your standards of integrity. If you talk about integrity, how you set up your own standards.
Great question. Oh, great question. So my standard of integrity and how I set it, for me, brother, mine was a lesson out of painful experience of living without integrity for many, many, many years. And the effects, the consequences of living without integrity over the many years continued to build in the consequences. So the longer that I lived without integrity, the longer that I chose to live without integrity, the more I saw the cost that it was going to be if I ever chose to choose integrity. I could have continued in that former way of life without integrity and continued to try and cheat, if you will, the system, if you will. But internally, I just had this tremendous sense of building tension that said, I want to experience honesty. I want to experience transparency in my life. I want to experience what it really means to be living in community with others in a way that has honesty as that premise. And I wasn't. And the choice to choose integrity was very painful because when I finally came to that decision, I said, I'm going to lose a lot of people here. When it comes to share the truth about myself and how I've really been this whole time, it's going to hurt a lot of people because I've built trust with so many people on a lie. And so when I chose to begin this pathway, I really wanted to experience that alignment internally where my values and my actions matched up. That's what wasn't matching up before. I really wanted that, and I knew it was going to cost a very heavy penalty where I wasn't going to be in community with many that I really loved and cared for. I broke the heart of my wife, my kids, my community. But I went through all that because I said, as painful as this is, I'm hoping that I can become a better person again, which I want to be. That's a few years back ago now. Looking back now, I see the way it's built in my life now. The way I've said, because of the lessons I've learned before, there are some lessons, brother, that I don't want to learn again.
Exactly.
And there's some lessons that I just want to say that was in my rear view, and I can see progression for me personally and how I've changed as a person. And there's a freedom, I believe, too, that we can experience when we live in this zone of integrity that enables us to be really who we are, to be free of the judgment or fear of how other people think about us, of being courageous in our commitments, our pursuits in life, the things that really matter a lot to us. So this is kind of the evolution that I had to go through personally. And back before I walked with integrity, there was a great desire I had. I wanted to be this person, but I did not know how. I didn't have mentors. I looked for mentors, but there weren't very many. I don't think there still are very many. But that's why I do this now. I want to be able to present content that can maybe help young men who are where I once was.
Yeah, that's a good plan. That sounds good. With this, right, others will learn, know how to live a life of integrity because, yeah, it pays to live a life of integrity, a life of value. Yeah, because it plays a long role in your life and in how you raising your kids and yeah, raising your family, right? So it plays a long role. So I have a good question for you. So would you say you achieved the standard of integrity yet, or you're still on the journey?
I love the question. That's a great question. Oh, Nero, that's a good question. Um, I would say I am walking with a lot more integrity now than I was once upon a time.
Okay.
And I continue to challenge myself still.
Yeah.
So one of the ways I encourage my listening audience, I say integrity isn't a one-time decision. It's like ongoing. It's a lifetime commitment. So I could have lived with maybe the last 5 years of integrity, and then now I could just choose to stop. It doesn't mean that I still have it. I
Exactly.
have to do it every day. And I have, like, with every opportunity that comes along the way, I want to ask myself, what does it mean to walk with integrity in this setting? So I would say, I don't feel like I've arrived. I want to continue striving. I don't want to be a guru. I don't want to be a professional who's arrived. I want to be one who continues moment by moment to say, how can I apply this? Because at any moment, I could choose to be without it.
Exactly.
At some point, I could I tell my audience, I'm going to make mistakes along the way. Please prepare for that because I'm human. There's a space in my version of living with integrity that accommodates for our humanity, that we're not supposed to be perfect, that we're trying to figure it out on the way. So it's an ongoing thing for me. Yeah.
Exactly. No, you can't be perfect. I mean, everyone has flaws, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, is that the sooner you realize is that yeah, humans are not perfect, the better, right? So that helps you in the way you living, right? Because transparency also is a key, right? So being transparent also plays a good role, and yeah, it plays a vital role in your integrity. And then you know you're living up to the standard
Yeah.
being set up for yourself, even though it may cause the loss of loved ones or friends or colleagues. Yeah, so that's what it takes in integrity. That's nice.
This has been an amazing few minutes.
Yeah, thank you
Amazing
very
few
much.
minutes. I hope there are more conversations like this, especially amongst us guys.
I mean, I would like it though. I would like the interview to like go on, even on me with other young men, just to get their own view of integrity, you know, and then add up. I mean, you could make like a journal, make a script about it, so you go online, so young people could read from it. You
Amazing.
understand? Yeah,
Yes,
that's
for
nice.
sure.
Yeah, thank you, Vion.
My pleasure, Nero. My pleasure. Thank you for this time.
I appreciate it. You're
Me
welcome.
too.
Anytime. Nice.
Oh, brother, it's good.
Thank you very much.
The pleasure was
Yeah,
mine.
no worries.
Oh,
No
thank your
worries.
friend for loaning you to me.
Alright, yeah.
Hey, if you want to find the video, it'll be on YouTube.
Okay.
So if you search my name,
Okay.
you'll find the themes that I explore. I'll spell it out for you. It's on YouTube. This will be maybe up in a week, 2 weeks time. I'm still editing many other videos as well. But BIN
BIN
YAM
YAN
AS
AS
RE
RE
SS.
SS.
Asterisk, you got it. Yeah. And that's where you'll find me online. And then,
Sometimes my connection is
Yeah.
slow, but yeah, I'll add you up, subscribe, and then I'll check it out.
brilliant. Brilliant.
That's great. Okay.
All
then,
right,
thank
brother.
you. Have a good one.
You too, brother.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye for now. Thanks, brother.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, see you, Nero.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a good one.
Thank you.